Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make beef braciole. Now the reason I specified beef braciole instead of just braciole is you can make braciole with pork or chicken. My grandmother used to make it with pork. We're going to use beef today, but it comes out as delicious with beef, pork, or chicken. All right, so what are we going to need? We need beef, okay? Now I've got some top round here, all right? You could basically almost use any type of beef that you want. I wouldn't use a really expensive cut because this is going to braise in our sauce for a couple hours and gonna get nice and tender and beautiful. All right, before I go on to beating this up, let's talk about our other ingredients, all right? You're gonna need some marinara sauce, gravy, red sauce. I made a big batch of my meat flavored sauce earlier in the week. So that's why I decided to make the braciole because I love this particular sauce with braciole. Now, I call this my meat flavored, not that there's any meat in the sauce itself, but and the recipe's on the on our channel. I'd encourage you to make it. If you make it, you'll think, why in the world would I ever buy jar sauce again? But anyway, so what I do with this is I get a couple country style spare ribs, a couple beef short ribs. I brown them up nice, and then I slow simmer my sauce for hours with the meat in it, and then I take it out. But anyway, so we also have a couple other versions of my spaghetti sauce. We've got a vegetarian version, which I use for lighter dishes that I don't want to overwhelm the flavor of the dish, so that you just taste the sauce. And then also, typically when I say Sunday sauce, I mean a red sauce or gravy that you slow braise your meatballs in, and it's Sunday gravy and meatballs. All right, so we talked a little bit about the meat. We'll get back to that in a minute. I've got some nice prosciutto here, okay, which is Italian ham. We've got some provolone cheese, nice sharp provolone cheese that I cut the little sides off so they'll fit the meat, of course, but also I can eat them. You might not always see provolone in braciole, but I like it in it. Okay, so we need to have a little bit of stuffing. All right, of course, I was going to need a little bit of salt and pepper. So I've got a cup of breadcrumbs here. You can use your favorite store-bought breadcrumbs, or we've got a nice recipe for homemade breadcrumbs. All right, we need at least a half a cup of a good Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Well, we need about 6 cloves of garlic and about 1/4 cup of flat leaf or Italian parsley. Of course, we're going to need some olive oil to get everything all frying up nice. A little bit of red wine to deglaze our pan. And then you're going to need some toothpicks, all right? Just standard toothpicks. You can use butcher's twine if you want. I never have any luck with it, and I can never find it. I know I've got some in a drawer someplace, but I couldn't find it. So we're going to use toothpicks. All right, so as you can see, I've already pounded out, and I'm going to do this. This recipe would easily do 4 or 5. I should say 5 or 6. I'm going to do 6 pieces of braciole. So I've got my beef pounded out to about 1/4 of an inch. All right, give or take. Let me just wash my hands off quick. Okay, so before we get that in, we're going to, let's get our garlic going. We'll quickly make up our little stuffing. Of course, you can finely chop this. I'm going to do this in the little hand chopper or the little chopper because it's so easy to do. And I just chop that up a little bit to get those going. Throw our parsley in. And that's just, I just pick off the leaves from the parsley. And that's perfect. All right, so in a bowl here, I'm going to add our breadcrumbs, our cheese. Now, if you weren't going to use provolone, I'd put a cup of your Parmesan cheese, your Parmigiano Reggiano. All right. In this case, and all this, of course, will be in the recipe. So since I'm using the Parmesan, I cut down the cheese a little bit. And of course, guys, always buy the best you can Parmigiano or Romano cheese. I know it can be very expensive, but get the best you can. All right. There really is a difference. That one that you just get in the aisle, that's in the green container, that shake. Yeah. You know, even if you just go over to the produce section and look in the cheese section and get one that's been aged, you know, for at least 10 months. I don't know, someone's coming up our driveway now. Or it's a delay from when I came in. All right, then we're going to put our parsley and garlic in here. So we're going to do this in the oven. I've got my oven, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear that over that. I've got my oven preheated to 325. And after we fry up and get our beef nice and browned, we're going to let it braise in the oven. You need at least really 2 hours. I'll probably let mine go 2.5 to 3. And again, it's going to depend upon the cut of meat that you use. The more tender the meat, or the more marbled the meat, the faster it's going to get nice and tender. All right, so we need a couple teaspoons, I should say a couple tablespoons of good olive oil. And just kind of mix that all together. We don't want this doesn't have to be like, you know, stick together or anything, but a nice crumble. Get everything nice and mixed. Ooh, it smells delicious. Just a little bit more. Oops, see that? So that's just about what I want. Like I said, it's just gonna hold together lightly. So you take a few more minutes and mix that in well together. All right, I'm gonna put that aside for now. All right, so we're gonna prepare our last piece of beef. All right, so I have found, in the past I've always used either saran wrap or maybe a piece of wax paper or parchment paper. Lately I found it's a bit easier to do this way, a little bit more expensive, and it doesn't do the environment all that good. But anyway, now I'm not going to pound this whole thing out because it's going to be loud, because like I said, this is a not really a marbled piece, but don't be shy. And it helps a little bit if you take the meat out about 20 minutes before you're gonna flatten it. But it will eventually start to spread out. And you can turn it on that side. Watch out you don't get your fingers. And get your frustrations out for the day. I'm using the flat side, guys, not the little pointy side, or where you would like make, I forgot what kind of, what's that, not Salisbury steak, cube steak. So we're doing two things with this. We're getting
flat side again.
So flat side.
Oh, okay.
And then whoopie side. So we're doing two things. We're tenderizing this tough cut of beef, and we're also pounding it out so that we can have a nice roll up. All right, I think that's enough noise. We're gonna cut for a minute, and I'll finish up this and we'll get everything out of the way, and we'll start to roll up our first braciole. See you in a bit. All right, well, I don't know, I couldn't seem to get this as thin as I wanted it, so I took the pointy side and gave it a extra little bangs. All right, so let's get started. Now, so we want to take a little bit of salt and pepper. Now again, I know that my sauce is very well flavored. If you're using a store-bought, then of course doctor it up a bit, as my grandmother would say. All right, so then the first thing we're going to do. Oh, also I've got a my Dutch oven here heating up. We're going to lightly fry or brown our beef. So, and you want to put this along the middle, so you can see it's not. It stays together, but it's not really. It's not sticking together, it's just kind of holding. I'm going to try to keep this off the sides a bit. So braciole is a rolled, stuffed rolled meat, and then braised in sauce. And we can take one slice of prosciutto. So kind of figure one slice of prosciutto for each piece. And your cheese. Okay. Now ideally, if you could get, which that's not going to do that for me, but so. Now, you want to roll this up, and we want to roll it up relatively firm, tightly. We don't want this to, we want to keep everything inside if possible as we're cooking it or frying it up. All right, so that's pretty good. Oop, don't you do that on me. And we're going to take 1 or 2 skewers or 3, push it in down and then out the other side. Come out there. There we go. All right, we'll put this one aside and we'll do one more. In fact, we'll give it a little extra, make this a little thinner. Can't hurt it. And we'll repeat the process. Maybe put a little bit less breadcrumbs in that one, because I did kind of fill that good. Oops, I forgot my salt and pepper. That's okay. We'll put it here. All right, we'll put our prosciutto. Get in there, and we'll do another piece of cheese, and roll. And got our toothpick. Just want to make sure it does go through the other side. And I'm gonna do 3. Now we're gonna braise this with the toothpick on it, but of course before I serve it, I'm going to take the toothpick out. So there you go, guys. All right, I've done 2 of them. I think you got the gist of it. Oop, bring it over here again. See it? All right, and I'll do the other 3, and we'll come back and get them in the pot. See you in a bit. All right, we got all of our beef rolled up in our stuffing. All right, I got my pan heating up. I'm going to turn it up to medium, and we'll get some olive oil in there. And just like whenever we're browning meat, we don't want to overcrowd the pan. Don't forget, we'll use the wine in a bit. All right, so I like to put them in the toothpick side down first because that's where we've ended up our fold. And we got a nice sizzle. So as I started to say, like whenever we brown meat, we don't want to overcrowd the pan. So I think I'll just do 2 at a time. Maybe get the last 3 in. I'm going to put 1 more toothpick in there. All right, so we want to get a nice sear on at least the top and the bottom. And that's going to take a good 10 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less. You know how to tell when we're browning meat? You want to, if you can move it easy. See, I can't move that. That means it hasn't got that nice sear on it yet. So as soon as you can shake it a little bit and it moves, you're ready to turn it on the other side. Let's see, what else can we say about beef braciole? Now, I think this is definitely an Italian-American dish. And I think if you went to Italy, you might find this on a restaurant menu, or certainly somebody, a home cook, might make it for you. Typically in the U.S., of course, it's always served with pasta, because anytime there's a red sauce, right, in the U.S., it has to have pasta on it. But we're not going to have it with pasta tonight, because we're going to have breadsticks, so I'm trying to save that on the carbs a little bit. But I love it with pasta. But in Italy, you would eat this, you have your antipasto, your salad, your meat course, and then you would have pasta, or maybe, depending upon how many courses you're going to have, and a fish course, and so on and so forth. And they don't generally eat it all together like that. So this generally wouldn't be served with pasta. See, we got a nice, I'm able to move it, moves easy. So let's turn him over. We got a nice sear on there. All right, I don't know, how long did that take? 5 minutes? Did I talk? No, all right, yep. Plus my pan is nice and hot too, so. All right, so, of course it just boiled up on me. I just cleaned all my cabinets. I didn't wash the glass, but yesterday cleaned all the whole kitchen cabinets, and I thought, well, how am I why are my cabinets so greasy? Well, it's because we cook a lot here instead of on the stove. So, all right, I'll come back when I take those out. We'll put 2 more in, and I'll just show you kind of how it's all seared, and then we'll get to braising them. See you in a bit. All right, you can see we've got our 4 pieces all nice and round. There's our last piece. And we got a nice crust on the top and on the bottom. All right. I have turned my heat down a bit, and we're just going to deglaze our pan. Now, if you don't want to use wine, you could use some beef stock or water. You just want to get all those nice crusty bits up off the bottom. And at the same time, the alcohol is evaporating, and it's going to reduce a little bit. All right, and in goes our sauce. Of course, I had it unscrewed, but then I screwed it back. So that's about 5 cups of sauce. It's going to depend upon how much you need, whether you want a whole, how saucy you want it. Of course, I like them to at least kind of cover my little bracioles at least about halfway. Now we do want to stir that in. Oh, doesn't that smell good? I don't want to waste any of my sauce. So we can let that kind of start to come back up to warm. My sauce was cold from the refrigerator, so of course I know it tastes delicious, but I'm going to taste it just in case to see if we need anything. Perfect. So of course I was testing for salt and pepper. And that is good. All right, so I think we'll be able to fit all of these in here. No problem. Our sauce is starting to come up to a simmer a little bit. That's about good. I don't think those need to be covered anymore. Let's get our juices in there as well. All right, guys, so now you can see we're starting to bubble up a little bit. You can give them a shake. Get the tops covered if you want. All right, so we're gonna cover, or if you, depending on what kind of pan you've got. And of course, while you're frying, you might need to add a little bit more oil as you're going along. You know, you don't want it soaking, but you want it, you know, a nice little film around the edges. All right, let's get this in the oven. So my oven is at 375, no, 325. And we're gonna put this to bed for at least a minimum of 2 hours. It's really gonna depend upon how, like I said, what type of, the cut of beef that you've used, how marbled it is. But I'm going to say anywhere between 2 and 3 hours. I'd, you know, give it a check at 1.5 hours. See if it's reached the tenderness you'd like. See if you need to add a little bit more of your gravy. Okay, set a timer for 2 hours.
Sure, 2 hours.
And
starting now.
We'll come back and check it in 2 hours. All right, guys, it's been just a little over 2 hours, about 2 hours, 5-10 minutes. We're gonna bring this over here because it's heavy. I'll be right back. And so what we're gonna test for is, we're gonna see it. Whoa, delicious, nice and bubbly. And yep, I think that's nice and tender. All right, that looks perfect to me. The knife slides in easily. All right, now, let me put this hot, heavy cover over there. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is remove them to a platter. Throw them on the platter. I'm gonna try to get it so that our toothpicks are up. Just because we're going to let these cool a bit. And when I say a bit, I'm going to say about 5-10 minutes. You could eat them right now, but all this work we've done, if we cut into these now, they're all just going to fall apart. So we're going to let them just cool for a few minutes. Like I said, about 10. And then we will make them look pretty. I'm just going to stir this a bit. Our sauce will stay nice and hot in this pan. All right, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. All right, braciole have rested for 10 minutes. I've taken the toothpicks out of the other ones. And again, gonna be easier, guys. Just go in. Usually I try to remember, you know, it's 3 per braciole. So take those out. All right, I've taken all the others out, and we're just about ready to eat. Let's put a little sauce on this so it looks pretty and gets really nice and hot. Each one. If you've got any left over, you can always put a little in a bowl and serve it alongside of it. All right, and there we go. All right, next time we see you, we'll be eating. Well, once again, it's the best time of the day. Supper time! All right, let's see. How did our braciole come out?
Oh, it's smelling good in the house for the past few hours.
Look at those beautiful rings, our cheese, and our prosciutto, which is Italian ham. Nice fall apart. We got some sauteed green beans.
That is delicious.
A little extra sauce. I definitely like some. That is yummy. The beef's tender. But it's got a little bit of texture to it. Delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our sauteed green beans. I don't know if we done sauteed green beans. I know we've done asparagus.
Not sure.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
That is really good.
A little bit of, I think, over brown breadstick, but let me give it one more taste. I was busy doing other things. Delicious.
Very good.
Alright, so I was just now.
Mark hopes to make this at least, right?
Cheers.
And please remember to like and subscribe and check out cherryhillhomecooking.com, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.
It's so good.